Hello, my name is Carolina, and my topic is on how has evidence evolved over time. So we're going to start with what is forensic science. So forensic science is the process and application of scientific methods in order to solve crimes. There are different types of fields within forensic science, and they all have one thing in common, which is to being able to use the evidence in court. So we go to the first year. It's the year 250 in Greece. Erasistratus, a doctor, noticed that his patient's heart rate would rise when they would lie. This is the first lie detection test. In the year 1249 in China, Zhangzu wrote a book called Washing Away the Wrong. It is the oldest literature on how to solve crime and how to systematically investigate a suspicious death. In the year 1840 in France, Matthew Orfila applies the Marsh test to detect arsenic in the corpse of Charles Lafarge. Marie Lafarge was convicted of poisoning her husband with arsenic, and arsenic is a poison to kill rats. Back in the time that was called inheritance powder, she is the first person to be convicted by forensic toxicology evidence. In the next year, we have 1883, France. Alphonse Bertillon, a police employee, invented anthropometry, a system of photography, and records measurements of the human body to identify suspects and criminals. In the next year, we have 1892, England. Sir Francis Galton classifies fingerprints, and he identifies them into 8 categories with specific patterns. This method was useful in forensic science and is still used today. There are 3 main forensics fingerprints patterns that they're categorized in, and the main ones are an arch, a loop, and a roll. And so we go into the next year. In 1910, France, Edmond Locard establishes the first police crime lab. Years before, he came up with the Locard principle, which is summarized to as every contact leaves a trace. In the next year, 1920, United States, Luke May published an article on police called The Identification Tools and Instruments. He's the first American criminalist to study striation. It's also known as tool marks. In the next year, 1920, United States, a method created using microscopes to compare bullets and matching pins impressions was created on their surfaces. The next year, we have 1931. Austria, Franz Holzer developed a blood typing technique used in forensic labs before DNA analysis. In the next slide, we have 1937, Germany. So Walter Speck developed luminol. Luminol is a chemical that gives a blue glow when it comes into contact with blood. This is mostly used to test blood in crime scenes. Go to the next year. We have so 1950, Switzerland. Max Frei Sulzer was the first to use tape to lift trace evidence. In 1961, in Hungary, lip prints were studied. In 1974, United States, scientists developed gunshot residue methods using scanning electron microscope. And lastly, we have 1984, England, Sir Alec Jeffreys discovered DNA printing. It is the most unique genetic marker found in every human cell. DNA is the most important discovery in the field of forensic science to date. So here are some of the requirements or studies that I added in.